Good morning for another episode of Air-Clips.com from Frankfurt Egelsbach Airport. Those of you who have watched it before have seen our Cessna 182 clip with Tarun, and also you may have seen our fantastic PC-12NGX Ultimate Cockpit movie with our charming Captain Uli. Actually, more than a captain, the aircraft owner who invited us for a very nice cockpit ride. Now, many people of you have watched that film. It was really popular and still is very popular in our program. If you have missed it, how comes? Well, here's the link. Make sure that you do your homework. But nevertheless, for the time being, you can stay tuned with us and watch this fantastic next episode with Uli. Because Uli also liked what we did and he invited us for another round, joining him on board of his aircraft. Now, his aircraft, first of all, will be the PC-12NGX again, which is right now in final approach here for Egelsbach with Uli at the controls, and it will come any moment now. Some police helicopter traffic, also nice. So, once he's here, I will equip the aircraft with cameras and you can join us for a lovely ride to Saint-Tropez in southern France. Should be an almost 2-hour leg, but this is only the beginning, because what Uli actually invites us for is a stunning ride on his fantastic Airbus helicopter, now based down there in Saint-Tropez. So we should really be looking forward to amazing outboard cameras and quite some fantastic PC-12 and helicopter action. I would like to invite you to join us today, and now please enjoy Uli's landing and taxi in of this still brand new aircraft.
Hi guys, welcome at Air-Clips. We welcome you for the PC-12NGX flight from Frankfurt Egelsbach Echo Delta Foxtrot Echo to La Mole, Saint-Tropez, to the Côte d'Azur with its blue waters and its beautiful sunshine. Hope to join us. What we're going to do is just fly the PC-12 out of the, well, it has been bad weather this morning, but now it's okay. We're going to cross some bad weather above the Alps, and then we go to the Côte d'Azur where we're going to do some helicopter flying, and come along on the journey with us. One of the big advantages of the NGX is the huge cargo door, where you can even fit a motorcycle in, or even bicycles, or cargo as much as you want, luggage for 8 people and for 10 days. So close it and come on board and let's go flying. Ciao Marc, mach's gut. Bonjour. Leave Egelsbach VFR 26 Delta routing English not higher than 1500 feet, 2535, 136, 130 when advised. Delta Fox uniform remained, yeah. Wilco, thanks. 2535. Apply close. Delta haben wir. 1500. Left side, right side. Cockpit preparation.
Right side clear?
Left side clear. Okay guys, what we do now is a pusher test, which is a unique feature of the PC-12. When the flaps are at 15 set and indicated, we're gonna speed up a little bit, give some torque. We push the button for the pusher test. We pull the stick, which actually pushes the wheel forward, or pushes the yoke forward. So in case we don't go fast enough, it's gonna tell us by shaking, listen buddy, you gotta either bring the nose down or speed up a little bit, or if you don't do that, it actually pushes the nose down. You can override it with the button, and we have to test that, otherwise no takeoff is possible. Okay, we go further with the takeoff checklist. MFD CAS, no flags, no warnings, everything is checked. Check T1, that's the fuel temperature, 18 degrees, that makes sense. Taxiing, external lights is required. Give it some light. Accept the strobe light. Parking brake handle release. Brakes check. Off we go. Egelsbach Vorfeld, Delta Fox Uniform Lima India, ready for taxi, holding point 26. (1014) and 7 POB, Delta Fox Uniform Lima India. Full contact info, ciao. Okay, ready to rumble guys. Now we taxi, and the first thing you have to do when you taxi is you check the brakes, because no brakes, no braking action. I checked mine, wait up, you check yours, and we have a beta range, meaning we can put the, okay it's okay, we can put the prop in reverse, and that brakes even on wet grounds or on icy grounds. You can brake like that. So we just put the throttle over a certain position into the back position, and then it's actually gonna, you can even go backwards with the PC-12 and park backwards. It's not what it's meant to be, but if you want you can do that. Okay, going to the right, roll to the left once, twice, 3 times. The ADI is steady, the artificial horizon is good, we don't have any airspeed, so that's all fine. Turning option coming up, we turn left towards holding point runway 26, and there is everything free. A lot of birds on the runway today, so you gotta be careful, because with one prop you definitely don't want to run into birds. But you gotta put on a lot of lights, if not to say all of the lights, and that's what scares the birds the most. One wouldn't think that, but it's the lights. They don't like the lights. They don't care about the noise, but they don't like the lights. And most of the time they will be able to avoid you, because birds are much better pilots than we ever will be. We have set the frequency 136, 130 when we are advised to do so. We have set the squawk, so the ATC, air traffic control, knows who we are, where we're going and where we're coming from. We have set the altitude of 1500 feet, which we shall not be higher, because otherwise we'll be in airspace Charlie, means in the airspace around the Frankfurt airport, which is reserved for IFR flights starting from there. And we have set the runway and the exit point from the airport area from Echo Delta Foxtrot Echo, which is Egelsbach, nearby Frankfurt. We are approaching the holding point, and we push the go round button, the auto throttle, and we identify the runway with 26. 26 is identified. Go round button is pushed, auto throttle is activated, not yet, so that means we've missed probably some weight. Altitude speeds, we have that. Initialized, we have that. So something we've done wrong, but we'll check it out. Auto throttle is activated. Okay, go round button, heading. Go round button, heading, auto throttle, and we have the altitude. So we're ready to go. The brakes we have checked, the power control we have checked, the display units compared. The flight controls are free and correct. The fuel caps are both closed. Check your fuel cap. Is that closed, Jürgen?
Yeah.
It's closed, okay. And the takeoff power is checked. Flaps are 15 set and indicated. Trims all three set in green range. Fuel quantity is checked, 2200. CPCS is checked for La Mole 30 feet, close to the ocean. Battery charging is okay. Flight controls are okay. Departure and emergency briefing. We know this airport very well. So if you or I say stop, we stop on the runway. Otherwise, once we're airborne, if you have an engine failure below, above, and we should set the minimums there actually, above 1,400 feet, we do a turn back to the left side and land on the same runway but in the opposite direction. And below, we just land straight ahead. If we have a minor problem, we go into the right-hand traffic circuit and we come back and land and fix the problem. Okay?
But we will not.
I believe not. Egelsbach Info, Delta Fox Uniform Vimendia, holding point runway 26, ready for departure. Lining up, Vimendia. My dear passengers, when we take off, we have a sharp left turn. So don't worry, after the sharp left turn, we will be flying low for quite some time at about 500 meters. There's a lot of heat at the moment, so that means it will be a bit bumpy before we start climbing to our cruising altitude. Okay? Okay, we are lined up. We have the flaps, we have the gear. Line up. We have the probes. We have the windshield heat, we have the inertial separator, we have the external lights. The strobe is on, we have the transponder as required. Runway is identified, heading bug is centered. And the cast window is checked, there is no messages. And the takeoff. Okay, off we go. Delta Fox Uniform India taking off. And the auto throttle is taking over. And the airspeed comes alive. We have 2,200 pounds of fuel, plus 7 passengers, plus some luggage. So we're near the max takeoff weight. We can feel that, how heavy the plane accelerates. But rotating now. And everything is fine. We have a positive rate of climb. Brakes, gear up. Yaw damper. And we follow the flight director on the runway heading of 26 before we do a left turn on the exit route. Each airport has exit routes which you have to follow. You have to be careful when we bank that we have enough speed, because the heavier you are, the more you bank, the higher the speed has to be. Otherwise you stall and fly the airplane right into the ground without a chance. Actually in mid-air it's just going to turn upside down on its back, and you don't have a chance to recover at this low altitude, even if it's a PC-12. The stick pusher actually and the stick shaker would definitely come first. But so we're almost reaching 1500. So we call Egelsbach and they will tell us to contact ATC. Delta Fox Uniform Emilia on the Delta routing. Direkt Raserding. Okay, we have the nav mode on, we're direct Raserding, and we're climbing to flight level 130, and we got all the ice protection on, and we have the inertial separator still open. After Raserding, flight plan route repos and so on. Delta Fox Uniform Emilia. Let's check this. Sounds good. Looks like we're going right through the clouds. We have some holes. Doesn't look as if we have a lot of. We do not spend a lot of time in the clouds, which is good for the passengers because you have less. Less vibrations in the plane. The plane automatically climbs on auto throttle with 140 knots, and it's set automatically when you put it on the FMS mode. Flight management system. I can put it on manual mode as well, but then I would have to adjust the speed with my hands. Okay, now they changed the frequency to a radar frequency. This other one was approached from Frankfurt. Radar, Delta Fox Uniform Emilia, good day. Passing 4,400 feet, climbing flight level 130, inbound Raserding. Uh, 290 please, Delta Fox Uniform Emilia. Climbing 240 Delta Fox Uniform Emilia. Okay, now we're climbing all the way through 240, so it's going to be a nice and easy climb. We're going to encounter some clouds, but through the clouds I can see the sun, I can see the bottom, so we will not have a lot of moisture in there. I still put my ice protection for the propeller on, but not for the wings. And we change the barometer to standard.
What sort of ice protection?
It's electric. It's electric, but we're out of the clouds, so I turn it off, and actually the inertial separator, which actually makes the air goes by the air inlet for the turbine, and all the air goes through the turbine. But if I close the inertial separator, it actually allows the air to just go past the inlet valve, so you get a little bit less air, but if there's hard objects like a bird or ice going into the engine, it's not going to make its way inside, but it's going to, take the short way and just going to be kicked out at the other side of the inlet channel. So this we can close here because we don't have any icing conditions and we don't have any more birds or any other hard objects here. It's very important, the inertial separator on the ground, because if you steer up gravel with your propeller and that comes into the engine into the turbine, then your turbine is gone and it's going to cost you a fortune. Okay. Let's see, bleed air, we have done that, power control we've done, that was all the takeoff, yaw dampers on, the climb, ice protection as required, we have the probes on, we have the windshields on light, we have the flaps, we have the power control lever which is on MCP, and we have the ACS bleed air switch on auto, and we have the cabin pressure monitored, and cabin's actually at 1,450 feet now, rising with 350. And the burrow is checked and cross-checked. 7,400 passing now and 10,500 coming up now as well. Okay, that's checked. And the cruise cabin pressurization monitor. Cruise list is to come, or to go. About transiting. So we're gonna have a flight time of about a little bit less than 2 hours. Now it shows us 2 hours and 40 minutes because it actually takes the speed that we currently have, which is a ground speed of 160 knots because we're climbing with 140 knots indicated. But this indicated and this ground speed will go up dramatically as soon as we have reached our climb bonus, our cruising altitude. Actually the fastest speed we can get at a flight level of about 260, 70, 80. But the most efficient speed, fuel efficient speed, you could get at flight level 280, 90 or 300. So we'll see which one they assign us today, and then we see from there. But saving some fuel isn't always a bad thing, especially when you're not in a hurry.
So guys, here we are, very nice takeoff. I hope you enjoyed the great views of our outboard cameras. And while Uli is busy there up front managing the flight and explaining you how all this stuff works, his friends in the rear here are already enjoying their time on board and are looking forward to a nice short break in Saint-Tropez, southern France. Now I will enjoy the flight as well. As a very friendly gesture, I've been invited, and I hope you will too. Remember, it's not only this flight, also there will be exciting helicopter footage waiting for you. For now, welcome on board. Cheers!
Okay, looks like a nice climb. All the engine instruments are in the green. We're climbing at 1,600 feet per minute to a flight level of 240, and we are on standard on the standby instrument and on both of the PFDs. The nav mode is on, we fly inbound transiting, autopilot, yaw and flight level change, and auto throttle as we said on MCP. So all that is set. Now it's more like sit and wait and monitor and don't trust your avionics, but control them and rethink all the time, is it true what they're telling us? Jürgen's probably gonna watch a movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's too bored, you know. Jürgen and I actually have been friends for a long time, and he's a helicopter pilot, a very good helicopter pilot indeed, and he's the one who got me into flying helicopters, and he's my role model in flying helicopters, so I'm trying to copy him and become as good as he is. And I hope these coming days when we're gonna do some movie shooting with the helicopters that he will join us with his helicopter. We have both pretty much the same. And so we can do some nice formation flying, the two of us.
So I'm now.
Sky Demon?
Yeah.
Nice sights. We both use Sky Demon for flying with a helicopter, which really is a very nice program. For VFR flying, for IFR flying, it can help you a little bit, but not too much. For IFR flying, you better rely on your avionics, or on other programs like Garmin Pilot or something else. La Mole in Saint-Tropez is actually quite a difficult airport because a go-around is almost not possible, because at the end of the majorly used runway 24 there is a mountain range which climbs up quite steeply. So if you do something wrong and you don't have enough power because your airplane is not enough performant, or if you're too heavy, then you can crash into the mountains. Landing the other way around, you have the wheels almost touching the trees before coming down runway 06. So many people don't like it. Some companies don't even fly there because they find it too difficult and too dangerous. we believe it's definitely doable, especially when you've done it many times, and if you're not hesitant to decide to go to the alternate airport in case there's something you don't like, which is, for example, a wet runway or gusty winds. And gusty winds is something that can happen quite often there because it's close to the airport, it's close to the sea, and close to the sea you very often have winds, thermal winds, and winds that are developed by storms. And when they come up the mountain ridge in Saint-Tropez, then it can become quite nasty.
And mostly it's the Mistral.
The Mistral, exactly. The Mistral is a very strong wind down there, which goes up to 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 knots of wind. And when you have that, normally they close the airport down at 15 knots of wind, but sometimes when they know you and they know that you know the vicinity, then they can give you a go anyhow to try it if you wish so. But one should never be complacent and never push the limits too far, because you will pay the bill one day. Okay, we put the armrests out because we have quite a long flight. We have armrests on both sides of the seat, which makes it quite comfortable in this plane. Give a little look back at our passengers. They're having some champagne and it looks like they're having a good time. Somebody who lost the frequency, that's why they're being called on guard now, 1215. That's the international emergency frequency, 1215. You should always have that set on your communication 2 or 3 device and always listen in, so in case you do have typed in the wrong frequency or you change the frequency not on purpose, then they can always contact you there and let you know that you have to change the frequency. It's kind of a bummer what they do, because then you've done a mistake and everybody knows it, but better this way than not being reached at all. For people that ask themselves what I've done, I didn't have an airplane accident, but had a mountain bike accident which took some skin off me, but it's in the process of healing, so don't worry, I'll be good. The guys amongst you have seen the last movie when we went to test fly the Kodiak Quest. There was one guy in there, his name was Hans, my best friend Hans, and he actually ran into my front wheel and to my handlebars and made me crash, so thank you, Hans, for this. I owe you one.
Is it mostly direct routing?
The routing today looks quite nicely. I don't know if I have it on here, just on my phone. I believe that just on my phone, but you can also look it up there. It's down to the Mediterranean coast in Italy, and it goes to Xamal, and then from there on we go Riviera all the way to La Mole. It's mostly like this. They always want to route you via the Alp ranges in Italy and then get you to the coast in Italy, and then you get you along the coast down to Saint-Tropez. It's very hard to get a routing the other way. Then you have to request so-called flyover points, flyover waypoints like we've done this morning. We didn't want to go west of the Alps because of the storms, so I requested Lyon to be flown over within 50 miles, and they accepted that, and this is why this morning we went east of the Alps from La Mole to Egelsbach. The plan today, actually, if the weather is good and the winds are calm, which I believe will be the case, from what I've seen in the weather briefing, will be that we'll be going to the Italian coast, cancel IFR, and fly in VMC, so in visual meteorological conditions, as a VFR flight about 500 feet above the ocean along the French and Italian coast, so then we get to see from close up Monaco, Monte Carlo, Nice, Cannes, Fréjus, San Rafael, Saint Maxime, Saint-Tropez, and then go into La Mole. So it's going to be quite a nice scenic flight, which makes our viewers happy and which will also make our passengers happy. Why did I set the minimums before to 1,400? It's quite an important question, because you only have one engine in this plane. So I explained to Jürgen on the previous flight this morning, one engine is not a problem when you have an engine problem at what we have now, for example, 20,000 or 30,000 feet, because you will always have an airport nearby that will show you where you can go, where you can land. But if it happens right after takeoff, you have two chances. If it's below 1,000 AGL, so 1,000 feet above ground level, then you just have to land straight ahead. You don't have any other chance. You have to look for a field, for a grass field, for a soccer field, or for something where there's not many trees or houses. Just try to bring the plane on the ground, maybe a street, maybe a parking lot, something like this. But above 1,000 feet AGL, in this case Egelsbach was 400 feet elevation, plus 1,000 makes 1,400 feet. This is why I set this in the barrel minimum of takeoff. Because I know at this altitude I can easily do a turnback maneuver. So when we have reached the 1,000 above ground limit, the 1,000 feet above ground limit, that means that the plane is definitely capable to do a turnback maneuver, which you will train very often when you get the type rating for the PC-12. That means you push the nose down, you steer a hard angle, maybe 40 degrees to the left, you bring the gear down, and when you're in the vicinity of the runway, when you're close enough and landing is assured, you bring the flaps down, and you land on the same runway where you came from, but in the opposite direction. So while climbing out, you always have to be aware, when do I reach the 1,000 above ground level altitude, because this will be my safe altitude to save my butt in case something goes wrong with the engine.
That's quite low.
That's quite low, yeah, because that's why you have to bring the nose down and bring a big bank angle, and you always do it to the left unless there is anything that obstructs you, because when you turn to the left you see the runway where you want to land much earlier than if you turn to the right. So there's no time to lose, neither in the reaction, neither in the identifying, neither in the judging of when to bring the gear down, when to bring the flaps down. But if you do it properly, it's actually a fun maneuver, and it really can save lives. Flight level 290 is also quite an interesting flight level, because up to 280 you have standard separation between the planes, and from flight level 290 on you have reduced vertical separation maneuver. That means between two planes going in opposite directions you only have 1,000 feet. And if you go into your pocket there must be a manual for RVSM, and it's actually today the first time we fly RVSM 290 or 300. It's the RVSM manual, which we had to write for our plane in order that our plane is allowed to fly up in these higher flight levels. It makes sense because with flight level 300 quite often you come over the weather, and in order to be able to, you don't only need the manual, but you also need a certificate from the Luftfahrtbundesamt that you're allowed to do it, and the pilot needs to have a special training in order to be allowed to do that.
Yeah. I have to try to land there as well.
That's quite interesting, because at this level, when you have the reduced vertical separation minima and you don't know how to work your autopilot, very quickly you overshoot by 500 feet. If the other person does the same thing, very often you have a mid-air crash in flight level 290, and nobody will save you or will save your life at that altitude when you experience a head-on crash or partial crash. So this looks like an uneventful flight. What we're going to do is now get some online weather. We go to weather, uplink weather, which we get over satellite, manual selection, radar, satellite, wind, manual selection we can actually leave out, most recent weather, and the wind we are to for flight level 290, that's the one we're flying or climbing to. We want the legend, and we do the request, and we want to follow the flight plan. Have all the information we can get, and we send it, and we wait for the data to be fetched via the satellite, and then we can see if we have anything that we have to experience on our way to Saint-Tropez. Alles klar bei euch? Sehr gut.
Tailwind.
Yeah.
Big difference.
18 tailwind, 30 from the side. So on the way up here this morning, it was actually much different. It really slowed us down. I think we had sometimes 30, 40 knots of tailwind. So now we see, when we look at this screen, there's some weather, but it's not a front line, it's not a squall line. but it's just some weather that's starting to disappear. We have some strikes, but they should all be below us. You see these strikes there? That means there's some lightning in the air, but as I said, looking at the clouds, that will all be below us, and there's nothing significant on our way. And when we get to the coast, we're gonna have beautiful blue skies, almost at least. Some stuff that's also left there, some heat. But in Saint-Tropez, weather is gonna be nice, so we can look forward to a nice scenic flight along the coast. We got on at Brody. We can't get through these clouds down there. We just go a little bit further out to the sea and come back underneath the clouds. So Monaco will still probably be in clouds, but we'll judge by the time we get there. We send to the aircraft, and we do heading up.
Are they showing the ceiling?
The ceiling? No, they don't show it here. Yeah, they don't show the ceiling. Because it's more or less an IFR program, you know. The ceiling, they don't really care too much. You can see the ceiling actually by going to the individual airports and check if they have an artist that you can download electronically via data link, and then you automatically know the ceiling. Kann mir eine der netten Stewardessen mal ein Wasser bringen, bitte? Super, danke dir. The problem when flying and drinking is not drinking alcohol. I mean, it doesn't go together at all. And even drinking water, you don't have a toilet, so you got to be careful with how much you drink, because as a pilot flying, I'm not allowed to leave the seat, because this plane has to be flown from the left seat and cannot be flown from the right seat. So once I go into the seat, I need to know that I have to endure the whole flight without going to the toilet. So the further we climb up, see the slower it goes. We're down to 450 feet per minute because we're heavy, we're full, the air gets thin, so the speed drops down, the climb speed drops down to 128 knots, whereas our normal climb speed would be 140 knots. So, but very soon we have reached 290, and the fuel consumption will considerably go down. 280, 1000 to go, and altitude select is in the standby mode. Quite a nice plane, the NGX now. I have it since I believe 4 months now. I've been flying approximately 150 hours in it. I didn't have a single defect. Something small with the seat, but nothing big. It was fixed in about 10 minutes. The guys came down from Airlines by car and fixed it. I had to put in some oil, and that's it. Pre-flight is done very quickly, and to fly it is, once you know how to do it, it's really fingers in the nose. The most difficult part are the avionics, but once you know them, you love them. Before you know them, you hate them. But it takes about a week, I think, to get into them, and then they're really magnificent, except that they don't have VFAR charts, which I find is a big bummer, because many people use this plane to fly to smaller VFAR airports, but I guess the European market is quite small for their wish. So let's see what they come up with in the future. Next to the missing VFAR charts, I have nothing that I miss in this plane. Nothing. Everything is in there, everything I love. It could be maybe a little bit faster, but therefore it has great runway performance for departing or for landing. This ground speed 250. We're gonna have some magnificent speed today because we have tailwind of 45 knots, so I can't wait to reach flight level 290, and then we're on the jet stream, and then we're gonna have a cruise speed of about probably 310 knots. Whereas this morning we had a struggle to get there to Egelsbach because we had big tailwinds, big headwinds, which slowed us down considerably. So 290 altitude is captured. And we'll see where our indicated airspeed will go now. We definitely will see where our ground speed will go to. The ground speed is actually what counts for how much we get there. So we see the true airspeed of 212 plus the 50 is about the 263 ground speed, but the indicated is going up again because now we're flying level, so the weight doesn't have to be lifted up, but only be brought forward. So the ground speed will probably go up to 300 or 300 and something. So now we put it direct in there. First we can check if you want, so you guys see where we're going. This is where we are, we're looking at the plane icon is. And this is where we're meant to go, transiting, where we go direct to Udina, so the controller doesn't need to follow us all the time. It just sends us from here direct to Udina. We can either do it this way, direct to, and activate, or we could have done it in the flight plan itself. Direct to Udina, and then we check, direct to Udina, and the nav mode is active. You can check also here that the nav mode is active, but we never know, is this on, but it doesn't indicate, so these signs are much more important than these signs are there. Connect the Wi-Fi of my phone with the Wi-Fi of the Iridium phone, which is installed in the cabin. Once this is done, I start the Iridium app. It's called Iridium Go, and it's going to connect with the Wi-Fi back in the cabin. And then I've synced that with all my contacts on my phone, and I can actually talk from my phone via the headphones to anyone I want that has a phone. That's the theory behind it, but most of the time it actually works. I think it's so unreal when you leave La Mole, you fly to Frankfurt for 2 hours and you fly back. It feels very awkward, don't you think so?
Yeah.
You go home and you see your house, and then you go back, and all of a sudden you're back at the ocean.
It was so unreal to drive up on the highway in Frankfurt.
It is, it's unreal what you can do with your own plane or with a private plane.
Yeah. I just had breakfast on the terrace.
Say again?
And I just had breakfast on the terrace in the morning.
Yeah, it's very, very, very difficult to comprehend. Yeah. So there's an article about Egelsbach, about the airport where Jürgen and I are based with our planes and helicopters. And it's actually quite interesting because one thing we're going to have is more airports, more small airports in Germany. It's going to be less and less. So whenever there's some pieces and bits of news, we snap them up in order to comprehend what's going to happen with our lovely, what we love, the airport. So here we have a little article in there. He just showed me, but we haven't read it yet. So it's going to be very interesting to know what's going to happen. Are they going to close it? Are they going to change it into a real estate area, or are they going to keep it and make it bigger and safer and nicer to fly to? It's like our passengers are having fun, huh?
It's really fun. Yeah. It was already started already in the car. So in Frankfurt. So I always very curious what we're talking about. It takes so long and so interesting and so funny.
So cruise checklist, cabin pressurization monitor. The cabin is at almost 10,000 feet. Power control lever is set to MCP, max cruise power. Engine instruments are monitored, they're all in green. The fuel state monitor, we have 1,800 pounds left, which is more than enough, and we have a residual flight time of about 1 hour. But we will use 380 pounds. Ice protection systems are as required, and the cruise checklist is finished, and next will be descent. So it's getting a little bit bumpy, but not too much. We're flying flight level 290 on the Pilatus PC-12NGX. And we have about a residual flight time of about 51 minutes, and once we arrive we have 1,400 pounds of fuel left, we need to tom up a little bit when we're going back to Frankfurt. But everything else looks perfect at the moment, especially 35 knots tailwind and the ground speed of 305 knots. Getting a bit hot. Normally we have some shields in the windshields that keeps the heat out. But because all the cameras are installed now, we're able to install them. It's a very good idea to have them. But since we're flying only 48 more hours and minutes, 48 hours maybe 5 minutes. And when you look now at the synthetic vision screen, we can see that there you have the apps, or the end of the apps actually. But you see, these are the ones that can kill you, these embedded build-ups, you see? Because you can see them on the weather radar, but you can't see them anywhere else. Let's see if we can catch it on the weather radar, okay? some build-ups in there, see it? You also see it on the vertical profile.
Oh, those are dangerous. Yeah. So not really yet.
So give me a good idea what we can do in order to get some nice footage, film footage for the helicopter.
Yeah.
For the Alps, the weather is not good enough, so I guess when we fly over the ocean a little bit, look for mountains, for waves and for dolphins, that would be nice.
Yeah, but it's quite risky to see something. I think the best canyons, Cockpit, the flight to the canyon.
Okay.
I think that's just.
How long does it take us? 2 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe? Huh? Okay.
It's half an hour.
Okay, very good. So a bit over the sea, a bit some canyons, and then I think we should have enough for people that would be interested.
Yeah. But we can. I will have a look to see that church in the mountain that I saw in the proximity of Castellet.
Okay.
That could go over the sea where I can go. And after to look north towards Castellet. And then this is a nice mountain.
You will fly a low approach at Castellet,
Yeah.
and then the mountain ridge, which is always used by Airbus. Okay, perfect. But that's not a canyon, that's just a mountain range, right?
Yeah, but we can do the camp.
On the way back then, yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's do it this way.
We could pick up some fuel in Castellet, like some liters. This is quite easy.
Yeah. So the direct body, Limania. Why did I know that we're going to board it? Because it's always the last point before we cancel. It seems to be kind of like a door to the sea body. Yeah, I think flight level 60 is the lowest they can give us there. And then we cancel IFR. If there's VMC conditions, then we go steep down to the sea to a level. Either we go directly to Echo Point of Monaco, or we do a circle to the left in order to reach Monaco VFR point at 500 feet. People like it. It's a very nice. It's a very nice route, and it's very nice to see what you can do with the Pilatus. Because like this, you can almost say it's kind of like a boring airplane, because you go up, you travel, and you go down. But you can do all kinds of stuff with it, but you can also do with the helicopter, except landing on very small spaces. So quite a heavy plane now, huh? 7 people in there, lots of fuel, lots of luggage. But that's a big advantage, huh? You can fit up to 10 people plus luggage, and you can still go from Frankfurt to the coast. So that's actually the biggest advantage. Plus you can land at small airports like Damol and even smaller ones. You can land at airports with 500 meters grass runway. So it's the closest thing to a helicopter in a faster version. Yeah, Damol looks like a Pilatus showcase. Huh? It's also because in La Mole you have the 2 runways, right? You have the 2-4, which is a mainly used runway, but in case of different winds, you also have the 0-6. And with the jet airplane, you're not allowed anymore to go to 0-6. And with a twin turboprop, you're also not allowed to go to 0-6. So this is pretty much the biggest plane that can land on runway 06 in La Mole. I don't know, I can't tell you. Because maybe they think they're too fast or too heavy, or I don't know why. One of the big decision points when I decided for the PC-12 and not for PC-24 or CJ2 Plus was that you can use both runways in La Mole depending on the wind. So it gives you probably 20 or 50% more landing capability in La Mole, because sometimes wind does come really easy. So I think the lowest, as I said, I think body is 060. So let's program. We want to be at body at 060. Let me see when we have to start our descent. Okay. So what is the descent already? 3.19 degrees. So we can already ask for lower. You see that? Delta Fox Uniform Limania standing by for lower. Descending 250 Limania. We already have an angle of more than 3 degrees. So now we give him a vertical direct to activate, and now we should start sinking. us. There's some build-up in front of us, but we have to check that we don't go right into it. You see it? We don't want that, so we're going to take the hole to the right of it, okay? Sending 200 Delta Fox Uniform in India. The question is, I don't know if we have the time because we have to go down, you see what I mean? So we rather say we are avoiding to the left. This is a small build-up already, so we go to the left a little. Delta Fox Uniform India would like to circle to the left to get below the clouds. Thanks. We don't know how much power is in there. So this way, we rather do a circle to the left doing and get below it before we bounce. 150 to India. 150 is set. Yeah, 2,200. So I've decided to do a circle to the left because I don't know how much power was in these clouds. It's just much better to go below the clouds without having the passengers being bounced around than going down. And we would have had to slow down considerably anyhow going through the clouds, so we don't lose a lot of time going at a high-speed left turn rather than slowing down and going through the clouds. The ceiling is quite low there. I don't like the look of these clouds. Just in there, and then that's it. Yeah, I don't know how deep the ceiling is if the mountains come up, because before Bordi we have some higher ceilings, you know what I mean? So we have to be a bit careful. And there's some power in there. You see how it builds up? Over there it's much less. See how it's all coming up. Is that ground view right behind there? Just go in there.
Would not.
Rather go to the right, I think.
I think it's easier then.
Yeah, but see how they come up too? There's a lot of energy in there.
But, or you can take just that way.
That little hole, huh?
So, but not down, diving down, the one in the back. I will just go above.
Delta Fox Uniform Romania, we need to go a little bit left and right here, just in order to maneuver around the clouds, okay? But mainly the track will be towards Bordi. It's gonna. Schnallt euch mal bitte an, da hinten wird es jetzt gleich ein bisschen bumpy werden, okay? Mit Schultergurt. We need to go a little bit to the left and to the right in order to get down between the clouds. So please keep an eye on us. Okay, we'd like to have 130, please. Delta Fox Uniform Romania. Descending 130 inbound body, but circling a little bit around the clouds. There's another one there, you see it? Any chance for lower, Delta Fox Uniform Romania? One 110 Romania. Okay. One 60 right, Romania. Okay. Jetzt sind wir gleich über dem Meer, siehst du das hier?
Alles gut, alles gut, das looks gut aus.
And Delta Fox Uniform Romania, whenever ready, I'd like to cancel my IFR flight and go down to the sea towards Monaco and going down to 500 feet. Wir gehen jetzt gleich relativ steil runter, also bitte nicht erschrecken, okay?
Hat keiner gehört.
So that was quite difficult because we had to go through the clouds. There were quite some build-ups, but we managed to do so, and now they have to coordinate between the different sectors. Radar, Delta Fox Uniform Lima India, high, flight level 110, heading 160, ready to cancel my IFR to go down to the coast, 500 feet AGL. We want to descend to 500 feet on 1013, Delta Fox Uniform Lima India. 500 feet, affirm. Maintaining VMC, descending to 500 feet, 1013, and will call Delta Fox Uniform Lima India. jetzt einen schönen langen Scenic Flight, bringt natürlich zeitlich nicht viel, aber von der Optik ist schön. Damit du mal siehst, was man mit dem Flugzeug auch machen kann. Nicht nur IFA da oben dran haben, weißt du? So now we're descending to the Italian coast. Where is the helicopter now, please? Delta Lima India. Going down to 500 from present position, 2,400 now, QNH 1013. Leute, guckt mal aus dem Fenster, die ganze Küste mache ich für euch da klar. Albenga, Delta Fox Uniform Lima India, buongiorno. 500 feet, 1013, passing along the coastline from the west to the east towards Saint-Tropez, just for information. I'm going to France here. I'm going to Echo Point, Monaco, and then to Saint-Tropez. No contact, looking out, Lima India. .500 feet above ground, confirmed, Delta Fox from Lima India. 6 minutes, Delta Lima India. Welcome. Auch gut, wie mit dem Heli, oder?
Bisschen schnell.
240 hier fliegen. 250. Musst du die Augen offen halten. Regelt sich tatsächlich. Was ist jetzt los? Was ist denn sowas?
Genau, Teil. It's always sunny in Saint-Tropez.
Jetzt kommt rechts Imperia, Leute. Rechts kommt jetzt Imperia. Nur für die wichtigen Informationen, da war meine Mutter mit mir, als sie schwanger war. Passing the town of Imperia, and we are 500 feet above the ocean. The weather is not so nice for the sightseeing, but still better than flying high, because this way at least you see some of the coastline. Go ahead. Imperia. One 205. 120850, molte grazie, ciao, Delta Fox Uniform India. Nice information, Delta Fox Uniform Limania. We are at 500 feet, 1013, flying from Imperia towards Echo Point, Monaco, to follow the VFR route to Delta Romeo. Nice information, Delta Fox Uniform Limania, bonjour. Echo Alpha 5402, Delta Fox Uniform. Go ahead. Same direction or opposite direction? Okay, not inside, watching out. Delta Fox Uniform India. Okay. So jetzt schön die Höhe, ne? Weißt du, wo Echo Alpha ist? Ah, das ist Echo Alpha, genau. Echo Charlie, Echo Alpha, okay, habe ich ja. Go ahead. Okay, thanks. Not inside, watching out. Weißt du? No more factor, we passed underneath it. Delta Fox Uniform India. 550 feet now, yes. 1013 Nice, 500 feet, Delta Fox Uniform India. 1012, sorry. Très bien, merci. Stand by. Ich steige nicht. So. Auch geil, oder? So now I'm showing Jürgen how agile the plane is, even though it's quite a big plane. You can fly it low and fast and agile, not like a helicopter, but near a helicopter. Das Heading halten, ja. Now we're coming close to Monaco. When you come too close to Monaco, you get a huge fine because the Monaco heliport is there. Go ahead. No, that's fine, thank you. Then we continue towards Sierra Bravo Delta Romeo. So. No worries. Platform here. Ja. Auf der rechten Seite kommt jetzt Monaco Monte Carlo. Ungefähr auf 1 Uhr jetzt, vor uns. Vor uns rechts. Okay. 12237, merci beaucoup à la prochaine email. Ciao. Nice Tower, Delta Fox Uniform India, bonjour, Echo Alpha 1000 feet, 1012 QNH on our way to Sierra Bravo at 1000 feet. Maintaining 1000 feet, looking out for helicopter, negative contact, India. Mike, Zulu, Monarchia. 30 Stunden drauf. Siehst du? Nee, ne? Da ist er.
Traffic.
Helikopter in Zeitlimit, ja. Sierra Alpha 1000 will follow me, yeah. Erstmal, dass mich auf 1000 mit Fuß hochholen. Normalerweise mit 500 mit den Helikoptern zusammen, aber dann tschüss heute.
Is Lagaret still open here?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. With the corona, I'm not sure, but I think it is.
But just questioned it because they have closed the Lagaret in Saint-Tropez.
Okay, no, I think it's still open. I think it's that one runs well just in Saint-Tropez. Delta Fox Uniform India, Sierra Alpha 1000 feet. Sierra Whiskey 1000 will call India. Das gleiche, ne? Aber hier kannst du, wenn du willst, Geschwindigkeit ein bisschen limitieren. Statt so hochfliegen, immer ein bisschen Gas, ne? Du kannst halt echt auf super kleinen Plätzen. Delta Romeo 2000, we'd like to go in the Bay of Saint-Tropez at 1000 and then go up to 2000 before Echo Mike if possible. Delta Romeo will go in the Bay, yeah. Jetzt fliegen wir 1000 Fuß an Saint-Tropez vorbei. Da ist die Tragfläche immer hängen, dass Sie das schön sehen können. Und dann gehen wir hoch nach Echo Mike, kennst du? Und dann müssen wir auf 2000 sein. to 0850, but we go to La Mole direct. Thanks. Yeah. 18135. Wir fliegen jetzt auf die Halbinsel von Saint-Tropez zu, geradeaus, biegen gleich rechts ab und dann seht ihr auf der linken Seite aus dem Fenster gleich Saint-Tropez. Jetzt erstmal den Park des Saint-Tropez und dann Saint-Tropez. Wenn ihr gerade rausguckt, seht ihr den Plage de Pamplon. Ja. Corona. Oh, ja. Bleib ruhig auf 900, nicht so hoch. Schön gucken, dass keine Helikopter da sind, das sieht auf dem TCAS nicht so aus, sehen wir das als Transponder an. Bisschen weiter rüber, sonst sehen die nichts, sonst fliegen wir oben drüber. Links jetzt Lamut, sehr schöner kleiner Strand und der Park de Saint-Tropez und direkt danach kommt Saint-Tropez. Bleib unten, bleib unten. Und nicht erschrecken, gleich geht es ganz steil bergauf. Ja? Ja. Links jetzt die Bucht vor Saint-Tropez und jetzt kommt Saint-Tropez direkt links im Augenblick auf 11 Uhr. Lass mich mal kurz ein bisschen weiter nach rechts rüber. Lamol, Delta Fox Uniform Romania, high, almost Echo Mike, 2000 feet for landing. One 011 to 60 news and report. Guck, jetzt hast du hier Gear Speed, siehst du es? Und dann die Flaps 15, 30, 40, siehst du es? Okay.
Das heißt, jetzt kannst du 15 machen, oder?
Könnte ich machen, wenn ich wollte, ja. Aber noch nicht. Das heißt, wenn jetzt ein Gast kommt, dann haut es in Overspeed rein, dann muss ich das checken lassen. Dann mache ich jetzt erstmal Gear raus, um Speed abzubauen. First flaps, 1.5. Also Angst haben die nicht vom Fliegen, oder? Now we have the approach into La Mole, which is, as we said, one of the more difficult airports in the world, if not to say one of the most difficult ones. You see the mountains to the left where the wind is coming, so we get a lot of wind shear here. We need to fly minimum speed, which means we don't have a lot of stability because we have a short runway. We need to fly minimum speed, but we also need normally speed in order to be stable against the wind shear. So it's kind of like a tricky catch-22 situation. First flaps, second flaps 30. This way, at least when I have a problem, I can glide, you know. And with the wind shear, it can push you down quite a bit. high side. They approach them on the low side. The wind shears here can be quite furious. Wind is calm.
Oder sanft.
Butter landing. Ah ja, bravo. Ja. Looks as if the passengers are happy. Ah ja, bravo, das sehe ich ja. Wer ist da? Ah, cool. Habe ich mir schon fast gedacht gerade. Ja, komm, ne?